awesome to see you, and I hope at some point to see you on tour again. And if not, I don't know, but best of luck. I already heard your new song today is good. Looking forward to more music.
Yeah, new music every week. My goal this year was a song every week, and so far I've dropped a song every week. I'm about to dive back into, and I want to stay there. I don't know if did you hear any of my rock music that I
I
dropped?
was gonna just mention that. I was like, I loved Drinking and Driving, Unholy. Like, so much of that album was so good. And I thought we were just getting the Unholy, and then it was like a whole album. And that was honestly, like, I like a lot of the older stuff too, but I like when MGK stuff came out, I kind of started getting really into like the punk rock stuff, and your
Yeah.
album was amazing. I loved it.
Thank you, appreciate it. No, it's my favorite album I've done probably since like Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
And then it was like I sadly I partnered with this NFT company because they offered me a ton of money, and so I released the album that way first, and it just bombed. It bombed so bad.
Really?
Like what they built bombed.
Yeah.
And then once again, it was almost like being signed to a label because I had to release it how they wanted to, and I had to do all this extra stuff, and it took all my thunder, and I felt like, it felt like I didn't like the music, but it wasn't the music. It was the fact that it was that.
Set a standard here, and then you were hoping for the standard to be achieved.
It wasn't even the standard. It was just the fact that because the album actually performed better than a lot of my more recent rap albums. And Unholy is my biggest song on Spotify right now.
Yeah.
But no, it was more so just like the release strategy that I couldn't do because I had to do what they wanted. And so I was like, you know what? I kind of did a lot of rap stuff this year just because I really wanted to give Indie Amplify that boost and give more artists opportunities. But from doing that, I was like, I'm going to find where my passion really lies. Like, is it the rap stuff or is it the rock stuff? And bro, like a couple weeks into doing the indie stuff and the rap stuff, I'm like, nah, bro, I need to get back.
I think jump back in. For sure. And tour, I'm sad I didn't get to go on that tour because I had a big school commitments at the time. But that looked like a good time too.
I'm gonna jump back in and I'm gonna stay there. To be honest, like I'm gonna infuse a little bit more rap. Like I don't think my next album will be as pop punk. And then another thing that I want to do is everything to me. I feel like nowadays should be an experience where it's like, making music is dope, but like I think that. Just like this, we're having an experience right now. We're talking to each other, like we're involved, we're engaging, and I think that that's what I want to do with all my music from here on out. So I'm going to do more live streaming and more like fan group stuff, and even indie is kind of converting into that to where it's just like, and then I want to travel and just make music with the homies and have a good time. So that's kind of where everything is going. I think that my next album is going to be called. Well, first we're going to do a bunch of remixes and we're going to drop it, and it's going to be called Cover Boys. That'll be this year. And then I want to do a 24-hour live stream and make an album from scratch in 24 hours and call it a day in the booth. And
That's
then
awesome.
next year I want to do something called All Over the Place, and I want to travel around the world and like do a lock-in in a city for like a week and bring like all the homies that I've made the rock music with, and just literally lock in for a week in like a dope cabin in the woods, and then lock in for a week in like Seattle and Boston and here and there, and like make an album called All Over the Place, where we go and we might find like a street performer and bring them into the studio and like do something dope. And so, but yeah, the rock, I think that I shoot myself in the foot by jumping back and forth, and it'd be better to just, like you said, kind of be able to let go of what people expect from me and just do what I love the most. So
that had to be super scary though. Was that like terrifying putting out Unholy? Because I mean, I can't imagine like being so safe in your niche that you were in with rap. I mean, you were with Tack, you featured with Dax and pretty much everyone you could really at that level. You were with everybody and you had your niche, you had your fans, and then you're like, you know what? We're put this album that's nothing like anything I put out.
Yeah, I debated it for years. Like you said, bro, since 2016. I've been experimenting a lot. Like if you listen to every album, it's different. Like I Am was way different in 2019, and we made stuff from like random ass sounds around the house, and like that was my first time really creating from scratch, and I loved that. And so like I've always loved all types of music. My dad's a DJ. I grew up on funk, and then my brother was a heavy metal guitar player and all this different shit. So I've always liked everything. So
I think a lot of your different stuff is all good in its own way. Like I was just thinking about like some of my favorite Futuristic songs. Like I mean, obviously Greatest and Too Easy, but then like Forget That It's Over. I don't know how big that one was, but that was like a
Yeah,
random song that wasn't necessarily in your bag. That
yeah.
was super random, and I love that song. You remember that one?
That is top
Yeah,
5. Yeah,
that's top five for me for sure.
yeah, yeah. And it's crazy because that was even that song, the way it got made. There was this producer who was like, and because I had never worked in studio with a producer, people send me beats, I write to him, make a song. This dude was like, he was kind of weird, and he's like, "Yo, I really like to work in person with people. I don't really send beats." And I'm like, "Get this dude out of here." And then he was just like, because he didn't have any placements. He had never made a beat for anybody that I knew, and he had
Yeah,
never got a placement. Nobody was using his shit.
yeah.
But that's why he liked to work in person, because he really captured the essence of like you. And so that was the first song I made with Boy Lord. And he came here. He ended up living here for a year and a half when we made the I Am album, and Zachary Lewis, he produced every song. And he lived in this room, in this studio. And
Wow.
before that, he lived in a closet. But so anyway, he came here and he was like, "Yo, he's this little hippie white dude. He's like, yo, just go in the booth." And he's like, take this pan and take this and take the pencil and just start banging on shit. And I was like, bro, this is the weirdest shit ever. I wanted to kick him out. And then we made That's That in like 3 hours off of me hitting a pencil and doing whatever. And I'm like, bro, you got to stay, and we got to make more.
We got to figure this out.
We got to figure it out. So like the rock stuff is the second time I've felt like that, where it's like, yo, I'm going in and I'm being like, having ideas for what a guitar could sound like, and then we're just doing it from scratch and making it. So it's dope. We actually made a song yesterday. We redid a Taylor Swift song, "Cruel Summer."
Oh.
Yeah,
I think
it's cool.
that's when we get the best versions of ourselves, is when we're somewhere we haven't been. You know, it's scary, it's uncomfortable, you don't know what you're gonna get out, and sometimes it flops. But
Yeah,
a lot of times that's when you're like so nervous on how it's gonna go that you have to dig deep, and I think that's when you get the best out of yourself.
facts. Yeah, and I actually got offered a tour, and I didn't do it. But if I could go back in time, and I'm talking about like earlier this year, I was supposed to go on tour with Magnolia Park and Arrows in Action, and that whole
Ooh.
tour sold out, and I didn't go. And it was a money thing too, but like I should have went, and I should have just stayed doing rock. I should have never went back to rap. But I'm gonna stay there this time. So starting in October, all my rock stuff will drop, because now I got booked for like 15 features. So those drop. I have a feature dropping every week from now all the way until September 29th. I'm looking at my calendar right now. Yeah, September 29th. And then I jump back into the rock stuff, and I'm staying there. So
Is it if is it okay to keep this in the interview, or do you want me to wipe all this? Because
no,
I can't.
no, do your thing. I'm not
Okay,
tripping about
okay. I
that.
just wanted to make sure, because well, this is all like, I don't know how you want to announce this, and like I don't want you to be like, I told this guy in confidence, and then he shared it on his podcast.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm not tripping.
Okay.
All
I mean,
love,
this
yeah.
probably won't come out. I want to release it in September, so this won't come out till close to October. So it'll be around that time. But
You heard it on the Batcave first.
Batcave first. Well, thank you
All
so
right,
much,
man.
man. I appreciate it so much. This has been even. It's funny because in January, before I did the 75 hard, I had the idea that I like wanted to do this interview, and everyone kept asking me like, "What's your best interview? What's your best interview?" I was like, "It's the one that I haven't done yet, that I'm doing after the 75 hard." And I didn't anticipate it to go this well, but this this has definitely been my favorite. So I appreciate
Oh
your
yeah,
time.
love that, man. Well, shit, you enjoy yourself, and